Okay, good morning, guys. This will be our last OK Coders video. So we're going to talk about how to get our blog posted live to Heroku. So we left off adding MongoDB support, right? So we should have everything working. So if I go in here and go into my client, start this up. Yeah, our stuff is pointing to MLab. That's where our MongoDB database is hosted. So if I go to localhost 4200, I'm going to see my awesome blog site, all my articles. So from here, it's actually what we need to do. We have a couple small housekeeping things we need to handle before we can push to Heroku. The first is, remember that our port that Express listens to, it is hard-coded, so we need to fix that first. And we went over this briefly in class last module, so I don't expect you to remember this, but what we need to do is Heroku will, whenever it starts our application, it will pass us the port number in what's called an environment variable. So what we can do is we can get that port number. So I'm going to say const port equals, and here it is process.env for environment dot, and it's passed as a capital port. And then what we're going to say is, or if that's not defined, just use our default 8000. So we're going to listen on that port now, and here, just for debugging, I'm just going to say server blog listening on port. Okay, so let's give this a try. So here, okay, listening on 8000, but if I do in front of it port equals, say, 3000, okay, server blog listening on 3000, awesome. And it's as a string. Express will parse that out for us. If we want, we can just put plus sign in front of it, no big deal. So that's one of the items. The next thing that we need to do is we need to have our front end hosted from inside of our server, because right now what we're doing is we're doing a npm start, right, which does our ng serve and does our proxy config. We won't be able to do this on Heroku. All right, there's no console for us to log into or anything like that. So what we need to do is we need to build a production version of our site. So the way we do that, instead of doing an ng serve inside of the directory of our client, we are going to do an ng build -- prod. So we are going to build a production version of the code, and this takes a minute or two here. But while that's running, what we need to do now is have our server side hosted. So what we're going to do is, we talked about a long time ago app.static that we can use, express.static. So we can do a app.use express.static and have our backend host our front end. So, okay, this built. And if I do ls in here, I see now I have this new dist directory for distribution. So if I go in there, I see there's a blog directory, and here is my minified code in here. So if I look at these file sizes, I see that they're actually not that big. Remember before when we were talking about single page applications that our Angular application was loading, it's 4 megs. 4.1 megs every single time we refreshed. That was because it wasn't minified. That was the debug version. So now minified, it looks like it's going to be under half a meg, which is really, really awesome. So this is the path here to our production build. So what I'm going to do is, actually I'm just going to copy that, and we're going to paste that in here. So period, whack, and then paste that. So what this is doing is telling Express that, hey, if someone goes to whack, and that's actually not even shown, it's implicit, that's the equivalent of doing this. So just like we're doing app.get with the URL and a handler, with the route, and then having the handler, this is the same thing. This is our route, and this is our handler for it. And all it's going to do is serve this index.html and these JavaScript files and CSS files from our production build. So if we try this now, so I should be able to go over here and I can just do an npm start. So now our server is listening on port 8000. So now I don't have my client's not running at all, right? So I should be able to go to localhost 8000 and see my front end. So really cool. And notice that my routes and everything work without the proxy config. We don't need that anymore, because essentially that we only need a proxy config because we had to proxy our stuff because our front end was listening to on localhost 4200 and our backend was 8000. So now everything runs on 8000. So if I refresh this, we need to enable one more thing to get something called HTML5 mode working. We won't worry about that right now. But I can see my requests are going to just port 8000 whack API whack articles. So now that we have all that working, if we do a get status, we're going to see, actually if we just do that here inside of the root of our project, we see that we have untracked files and client disk. So we have to make sure we add those, because basically otherwise they won't be committed. All of our production build files won't be committed and they won't show up to Heroku, so that does us no good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make a commit here. So git commit -a, because I didn't explicitly do a git add for server.js, so I need to do a -a to add everything. And my message here is just going to be production build or production ready or whatever I want. So I never connected mine up to GitHub or anything, so git push isn't going to do anything because I don't have any remotes. If I do a git remote list, well, git remote, I see nothing there, so that's okay. Heroku will be my only remote. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Heroku.com. And I for once actually tested this before showing you guys, so I'm already logged in. But I'm going to just go to new application, and I'm going to call this OK Coders. Actually, here instead of using OK Coders, I'll just use Sergi Blog. So yeah, no one else has Sergi Blog. Awesome. I'm not gonna worry about. So here we get here, and there's pipelines. There's all this craziness. It's a little overwhelming, but we don't have to worry about any of that. So all we're going to do is use the Heroku CLI, which if you haven't installed, there's a link right here. But we're gonna type Heroku login, which I've already logged in. But all it's going to do is bring up a web browser. And mine, for some reason, is bringing up Firefox. I don't use Firefox. I'm going to close that, and I'm just going to just right-click on that link, click open, and since I'm already logged into Heroku, just ask, hey, do I want to log into the Heroku CLI? I'm going to click yes, logged in. I go back to my console, and I see it's logged in. Fantastic. So the next thing I need to do is actually deploy my application. So we're not going to create a new repository, anything like that, because if we do a git init, we're going to lose all of our commits. So it should complain that it's already initialized, but then all we're going to do is, so right here, deploy our existing git repository. We're just going to copy paste this here. So Heroku git remote -a Sergi blog. So I'm going to add that in here, and now we see set git remote. So now if I do a git remote, I'm going to see that here. So now, again, I have my final production build. I can just do a git push Heroku, and this will push this, prep it, so it knows that it's a Node.js application. It configures a bunch of things for me. It builds. This looks like it's all going really well. It's launching, and it's done. And here's my final URL for it. So I should be able to right-click on this and go in, and voila, here is my fully working single-page application. I can go in here and I can edit articles. I can do all that fun stuff. Let's see. I should be able to add an article. Added from the web. My body here. And guys, this is up live. Anyone can go here and view this. So, and that is it. I would love for all of you guys to get this working, and then just in our OK Coders Slack channel, just post a link to your Heroku application. I'd love to just go through it. If you push this to GitHub, I'd also just love to see the code, especially if you want any feedback on it, if there's things that you could have done better, cleaner. If you don't care about that, that's okay. I would love these things also done Friday, Saturday, by Monday at the latest. So if anyone has questions or runs into issues, please let me know. Okay, thank you guys so much.